before they dog. Okay, this is probably worth talking about. Well, okay, when I plowed this garden up, this spot, I took this particular spot because I know that this has got a lot of the black sandy loam in it. Now that isn't true of everything up here. Most of this land is just pure sand. This loam has got built up from thousands of years of grass growing and dying. The root system on this stuff only goes down about that far. And if I was to dig down about 6 inches here, I would be in absolute pure sand, which would immediately blow. That's why a lot of this country, this was originally settled, as part of the government land deal. And a lot of this land ended up going back to the government. That's why if you look on a map in North Dakota, down in the southeastern corner, there's a big green area that is the Cheyenne National Grasslands. Well, all that land at one time had been privately owned, but went back to the government because people tried to farm it, and it's highly erodible. There's only a few places in this area that really can be farmed, and there's a lot of it being farmed that shouldn't be farmed, that is only suitable for pasture, because there's nothing there. If you go down, it's just pure sand, and it blows, and that's why during the 30s, this all blew. That's why there's a lot of big hills and dunes and stuff, is because it blew. We're better off here than some of the more open spots, because I'm right on the edge of the Cheyenne River Valley, and we've got a lot more trees and stuff, so we've got some loam here. But if you get out away from the river a ways, it's just pure sand. It's just a desert, highly erodible. So, like I say, a lot of it, they tried to farm it, and when the dry came, they just had to give it up and move out, because so it all went back to government. So there's a big area that's marked in green on the map. That's the Cheyenne National Grasslands. That is government, federal land. And then they lease it out to ranchers to graze. But, like I say, very, very little surface area here. That's why a lot of it has to be very carefully handled. If I was to plow up even just over a little ways, I know I'd be in pure sand. But this particular area, I knew I could get by with. But there's a lot of it, if you go around and look where pocket gophers have been digging, you can see the changes in the ground, where all of a sudden there'll be pure sand that they're pulling up. They start out with the loamy stuff, and they go down a little ways, then they're in a pure sand. And if you tore that up, it would be a mess. But this will be good garden ground. I just got to get this sod all broken up now, but I'll let it dry out a little more. Originally the settlers out in the plains part where there's the tall grass, they were building, to file a claim, you had to build 12 by 15 or something, and live in it for 5 years. So they built out of sod. Now around here, there was very little sod built in this. We have trees in the valley here. So it was mostly log cabins. They'd build a dugout, partially covered with sod, and that's what they live in until they got a chance to actually build a suitable cabin. But that's why the Cheyenne River Valley's got a lot of log cabins in it. But out on the plains part, that was all, there was no trees there, so that was all sod. And as a kid, I grew up out on the plains part, and as a kid, we used to build sod houses all the time. Just little, ridiculously small, just enough you could crawl in there, get a little fire going, do a little cooking. But we did that a lot. Well, it's tough stuff too, but you know, they were never meant to last. You know, like I say, you had to live on the land for 5 years. If they lasted you 5 years, then you could finalize your claim, and then you owned the land. That was the time to start building. But even then, a lot of times, people, the first thing you would build would be shelter for your animals, you know, and then you would go at the house, but the barn had a priority. Now, this will work up nicely, though. But it'll take a while, you know, to get the sod chewed up. But I didn't want to go at it with just the rototiller. That's why I plowed it first. But let this dry a little, and I can get it chewed up. But this is interesting ground. Like I say, you're cautious about where you dig it up. Because even a trail like the cattle make, walking in the same spot over and over, if they get down through the loamy stuff and into the sand, all of a sudden you'll have a huge blowout, you know, just from them breaking that surface. So it's touchy stuff. That's why, you know, the government pasture, the federal stuff used to be open to people, dirt bikes and stuff like that. They had to shut that down because the stuff, you know, people tearing around, pretty soon you got nothing but blowouts. So they shut that down except for certain limited areas, you know. But I got a little work to do. But I got to go work cattle today and let this dry, and I got to come up with a suitable disc. Though even this, I could go over it lightly with the rototiller and get her started, but a disc could really be the trick. And I would like to find one. And I think I was looking online, and I think they're available for, you know, they make a lot of stuff now to go behind ATVs or garden tractors. Well, all of them can be adopted to work behind a David Bradley. So that's what I'll probably do. You know, a little over $100, I can get one of them going. But I'll look around if I can't find a small disc to go behind a tractor. Though I don't like to go over a garden area too much with that heavy tractor, because I have found before that you will pack the ground so hard that it then is hard to dig up with the rototiller. You know, so the David Bradley would be a lot less impact on it. But I tell you, it's hard to look at these hunks of sod and not have that great desire to build a sod house. Because like I say, as kids we did a lot of that. But this is all June grass, and it doesn't root like the broomist does. You know, you get out on the tall grass stuff, you get much thicker, you know, like 6 inches thick slabs. But you could build with this. But, you know, like I say, that's a temporary thing. But this is good ground. But then I'm going to also, particularly along the fence area where it's sandier, I'm going to haul in some manure from my brother's where he pushed it into a pile. And it's been rotten for years, you know, so it's really composted stuff. And put that in here, especially in the sandy. Get more organic stuff in it, because like this June grass, that's a slow organic thing, you know. I really need to add some manure in here. You know, that works very well. Give it a little more substance. But even this, you know, my garden that I have originally was exactly like this. You know, with the same ground. But I had kept adding horse manure into that. And that's what it takes, you know, it really does to make a decent garden. But like I say, a lot of this land, like even the land next to me, that has been broken up for quite a few years. And they're into that cycle of corn, you know, where they aren't really farming, you know, there's no nutrients left in, though that particular guy, he owns a feedlot, so he dumps a lot of manure on there, which helps, you know, get organics back into it. Because a lot of these farmers, it's strictly a chemical thing. You know, there's nothing left in the soil. They just, you know, plant Roundup ready stuff and hit it with the Roundup. So it's just bare dirt, and they will blow. You know, but they're all using that genetically modified stuff. Not a cycle they should have ever got into, but they are, and that's what the government likes. I upset a lot of gophers. In fact, the dog was digging around here trying to catch gophers. Just shook them up.